Boy, it's good to be back. Hello everyone, welcome back to Under the Knife 2. It has been a long time coming, but we're going to resume Chapter 2. This might end up being a shorter episode today because I'm running on limited battery power, but we'll see how this goes. Alright, on with the show. Episode 4, Ominous Clouds.
Hey.
Linda's tissue samples have come in. It looks like they were able to procure samples from back before she was infected with guilt. If we can compare the DNA of the affected area with the cell's original DNA and find a mutation, it'll definitely help us toward our goal of being able to treat PGS. Victor went nuts over the prospect of being able to cure it through DNA treatment. Well then, we'll have to ask him to push himself to the limit. But come to think of it, that's probably what he'd do anyway. Good morning. Good morning, Dr. Toolba.
Excuse me.
Good morning, Adil. How's your training going? It's very fulfilling, right? By the way, your neurology report's due today. Have you finished it? It's going well, but it covers so much material. I mean, it's such a broad topic.
Oh, yeah?
That doesn't change the fact that it's due today. Understood? Yes, I'll get it done. Hey look, breaking news on TV. Oh my god, the Secretary of Health is in critical condition. Apparently he drank something poisonous. What? James Pierce? That's serious. Hey, isn't Secretary Pierce an acquaintance of Director Hoffman? Yeah, I think so. He used to work closely with Secretary Anderson, so they all probably knew each other. Who's Secretary Anderson?
Yeah.
He was the previous director of Caduceus USA and the Secretary of Health and Human Services. He contracted guilt 3 years ago and passed away. Did you call for me? Yes, have a seat. Yes, sir. Derek, did you hear the news? About Secretary Pierce? Indeed. They're saying it was a corrosive type of poison. Some sort of strong acid or a type of sodium hydroxide.
What?
And he swallowed that? Yes, it seems to have been mixed into his daily medication. He's suffering from severe burns in the back of his throat and his esophagus. Who would do such a thing? The poison they used wasn't lethal, so it doesn't appear to be an attempt on his life. Though it hasn't been ruled out. They're saying that he appears to be the work of an amateur. But we'll leave the investigation to the police. We have our own role in this. Our own role? Does that mean the Secretary is... Exactly. He's being transported here. It's just like Secretary Anderson. Yes, you may already know this, but James and I have known each other for years. Every time I met him, he'd always tell me the same thing. If anything ever happens to me, I want a doctor from Caduceus. The medical terrorism we saw with guilt has started to make people extremely neurotic about diseases. That's why he requested us? Oops. Fix that, there we go. He is an important figurehead of this nation. It's only natural that those around him would want the Secretary to receive the finest treatment. I have a feeling this is leading up to why you called me here. You should know, there will be complications. We're dealing with the government here. I'm sorry to ask you yet again, but can you do this for us?
Yes.
Director Hoffman, Chief Casal, no matter what the details are, it doesn't change the fact that a person's life needs to be saved. That being the case, as a doctor, I am glad to accept this operation. Even more so if Secretary Pierce was an acquaintance of Secretary Anderson. I'll give it everything I have. Thank you. I'm counting on you. Yes, sir. Alright, we're treating some thrones, you know what I meant. The patient is suffering from 2nd and 3rd degree burns in his throat from ingesting corrosive poison. The affected area expands from the top of the throat down through the esophagus. There are 2 objectives in this operation. Treat the burns with skin grafts, extract the poison-filled capsule. I'm sure you're familiar with it. We'll be using a procedure called autografting. This means we'll be obtaining the skin grafts from the patient's own body to use the affected area. Sounds familiar, doesn't it, fellas? Thanks, Angie.
Let's begin the operation.
Let's fix the zoom here.
Let's begin the operation.
That'll do. Okay. So we're starting off like normal. However, once we go inside, we'll be doing a similar method to what we did in New Blood, First, we gotta drain this fluid.
Well, that's done. Please inject the medication.
Then we gotta treat the burn, cut it out. I'm a little out of practice, but I replayed these missions a little while ago to get myself refamiliarized.
Please inject the medication.
Alright, drain the blood. Then we use this stuff
The scalpel.
to make some skin grafts.
Use the forceps.
And place them on. Make a square.
Probiotic gel.
And there you go.
Styles. Use the ultrasound.
Oh, but now we gotta get rid of the capsule that's inside.
Use the forceps.
Bloop.
Use the magnification tool.
Of course, that was only half of it, so we gotta find the other half. And it's down here.
Very nice. Please continue.
1, 2, 3, 4. Easy peasy. This brings back memories already from when I first played New Blood once upon a time, before I even started doing videos for it. I remember being so confused as to what exactly I was supposed to like to do with the syringe and how to create skin grafts and everything. It's pretty hilarious looking back, seeing how much I know now versus back then, and so on and so forth. Then of course the matter of how much I remember now and how much I forgot. So, you know, life's kind of funny like that. And that is an S rank. Oh yeah, something else too is that I basically started this file over because I'm re-recording a bunch of old footage. So you may notice that my scores so if I go back to the older missions, you might notice my scores are different, but that's neither here nor there.
Derek,
Yes, Director? I just wanted to tell you that I think you're doing a good job. And I'm sorry to have forced this upon you. No, not at all. You look lost in thought. Oh, the whole thing just reminds me of Secretary Anderson's passing. I see. He sacrificed his life as a test subject for our guilt treatment. He was a respectable man who always looked toward the future. Yes, Caduceus. We are a medical organization that was established to help people who suffer from serious illnesses. We can never be daunted by these diseases. The fight must continue until we eradicate them all. That was Richard's dying wish as well. Derek, I'm counting on you now, as I always have.
yes.
Yes, sir. Okay, another one down. Let's move on. Episode 5, Sinner. From Elysium?
Okay.
Yes, PGS patients are rising there as well. So even people recuperating at exclusive facilities are coming down PGS. Wait, what is Elysium? A facility that was established as a result of the guilt terrorism that erupted 3 years ago. A number of people infected by guilt are being treated there until they can fully recover. The unauthorized research of guilt was forbidden by international law, so Elysium was built in order to circumvent that. Really? But so many PGS cases are arising that even Elysium can't handle all of them. As a result, we've decided to accept one of the more intensive patients. What is the patient's name? This may be painful for you two to hear, but he's a sinner. A sinner? You mean one of the children we found on Delphi's base? Indeed. Now this is bringing back some other memories. So this is a reference to, well, it's explaining it here, but in the first Under the Knife game, it has a different Chapter 7 than what appears in Second Opinion. Or, no, not Chapter 7, but Chapter 6. That's right. So in that series of operations, it's Derek and Angie have to go and save a group of children that each have a different strand of guilt, and so one of those children is reappearing in this game, and we have to help them out. 3 years ago, the terrorist group Delphi hid their base of operations on a marine vessel. There in the middle of the ocean, they performed their dangerous research on guilt. Children were kidnapped from around the world and implanted with mutated forms of guilt. In accordance with the Zealots' belief, these test subjects were labeled as sinners. After Derek Stiles saved them from their terrible fate through a series of operations, they were taken into custody by the UN Army and began receiving treatment in medical facilities. If anyone wants me to go back and replay that chapter, just for collection's sake, I'll gladly do it. The incoming patient is a young Mexican. His name is Emilio Juarez, age 17. The hepatitis he's suffering from is thought to be guilt-related, and it's fulminant.
No.
He had to experience such pain at the hands of Delphi, and now he has to suffer PGS. He can still be treated, though. We need to stay optimistic.
I'm counting on you.
He'll be arriving in the afternoon. I'm counting on both of you.
Excuse me.
Are you Emilio?
Dr. Stiles,
You must be Derek Stiles. My name is Heather Ross, and I'm Emilio's personal nurse. Heather Ross, age 21, a nurse employed by Elysium. She holds the same international nursing license as Angie. Do you happen to speak Spanish? No, not really. Then please, allow me to interpret for you. Oh, thank you. Wow, she's pretty. Emilio, this is Dr. Stiles who will be taking care of you. Introduce yourself to him.
Medico.
Buenos tardes, medico. Nice to meet you too, Emilio. I'm Angie Thompson. A pleasure, Emilio. Heather, I've met these people before. Huh, you have? They both appear in the nightmare I always have. He says that the two of you appear in his dreams.
What?
You mean he remembers what happened 3 years ago? He should have been unconscious. But in my dream, they're very kind. They saved me from my suffering. Emilio, Dr. Stiles and Miss Angie have operated on you in the past. So that's why. Gracias, medico. Emilio was transported to Elysium from Mexico, but PGS suddenly struck his liver. It was concluded that further treatment would be impossible at Elysium. When we consulted Caduceus about this, we were told that you would return to the country, Doctor. So that's why.
Let's do our best.
Doctor, I beg of you. Please save Emilio. Of course. We can't let him continue to suffer. We have to cure him. Caduceus will do everything in its power to make sure of it. Alright, according to Emilio's examination results, it looks like post-guilt syndrome has caused an extreme case of hepatitis. Cellular damage is present in his liver, and the abdominal cavity is hemorrhaging as well. His liver has become almost non-functional, and he could start drifting out of consciousness. We must treat him as quickly as possible. It's progressing much faster than we could have anticipated. We should operate immediately. Agreed. That means there will be two operational objectives. Drain the blood pools from the abdominal cavity, and treat the liver injuries. We can treat the damaged areas of the liver by packing it with synthetic membranes. Sounds easy enough.
We'll begin the procedure.
Let's begin the operation. Vitals dropping.
Oh dear. It says, yes it is. Nope. There we go.
Doctor, use the drain. Please inject the medication.
Gotta take care of this toxicosis as well.
Toxicosis has subsided. Use the forceps.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gel it up. Oh no!
Use the ultrasound. Look!
Oh, my favorite.
Use the drain.
That was sarcasm, by the way. This.
Please inject the medication.
There's more, is there? No, I didn't think so. Okay, we can take care of this part again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Use the antibiotic, please.
That was close. And it looks like we're good to go, so let's close them up.
The sutures are ready. That was truly amazing.
Alright,
Thank you.
I see.
and so we shall report this back to Miss Ross. Yep, and that signal means I should be ending the episode soon. I'm getting a low battery flashing on my camera right now. That's another S rank. Emilio? Dr. Stiles, is Emilio...
It's all right.
It's alright, the operation was successful. Oh, thank heavens, I'm so glad. Thank you so much, Doctor. But we'll still need to monitor his progress for a little while longer. Is there a problem? The damage to his liver was severe, so he may end up needing a liver transplant. I thought as much. I've been requesting an organ donor for him in case this happened, but... Don't worry, Miss Ross. It isn't something we'll need to do immediately. Okay, I'll still consult Elysium about this, though, to get things started. And I'll do everything I can, too.
Dr. Stiles,
Thank you, Doctor. Well, I'd like to be by Emilio's side, so if you'll excuse me. I hope that Emilio gets better. Me too.
I see.
You wouldn't want to make a beautiful woman like her cry, would you, Doctor? Huh? What do you mean? I guess it doesn't matter what your reasons are, as long as you do your best as a surgeon.
What?
What? Angie? What's gotten into her? Sounds troubling. Well, we'll have to find out what happens next. In the next video. So, see you then.